Sometimes the things that break us are the very things that rebuild us into something greater. Today's story will show you that what feels like the end might just be the beginning. So stay with us until the very end, because the lesson in this tale might change the way you see every struggle you've ever faced. Deep in the heart of a forgotten valley, between two ancient hills covered in wild olive trees, there once stood a forgotten orchard. No one tended to it anymore. The fences were broken, the paths were overgrown, and the old stone well at its center had long since run dry. But despite its neglect, the orchard held a quiet kind of beauty, and it was home to a small brown sparrow. This little sparrow had found her home in the hollow of the oldest apple tree. Its trunk was wide and cracked, and inside that crack, the sparrow had built everything she needed. She carried small bits of dried grass, soft petals, and strands of cotton she found near the abandoned farmhouse. Day after day, she shaped her little nest with care and devotion. "This is my world," she whispered to herself each evening as the sun turned the sky orange. "It's small, but it's mine. Nothing will ever disturb me here." And she was right, for a time. The orchard was silent. The wind was gentle. The branches sheltered her from the storms. She spent her mornings singing to the sunrise, and her afternoons gathering seeds from the wild bushes nearby. She had grown comfortable. She had grown still. She believed nothing would ever change. But change doesn't ask permission before it arrives. One early morning, the silence was broken, not by wind, not by rain, but by the sound of footsteps. Heavy, determined footsteps. The sparrow peeked out from her nest and saw something she had never seen before. A group of workers had entered the orchard. They carried tools, ropes, and measuring sticks. Behind them walked a man with a weathered face and kind eyes, the land's new owner. He had bought this forgotten land with a dream, to turn it into something alive again. And the first step of that dream meant cutting down the old trees, starting with the apple tree, the very tree that held the sparrow's nest. The sparrow didn't understand what was happening. She only heard the roaring sound of the saw moving closer. She felt the tree shudder beneath her. And then, in one terrible moment, the trunk cracked and split open. Her nest tumbled. Her little world, the grass, the petals, the cotton, scattered across the ground like broken memories. The sparrow shot into the sky, heart pounding, wings shaking. She circled above as the workers moved from tree to tree. Within hours, the orchard she had known her entire life was gone. She landed on a distant fence post and stared at what was left. Stumps, splinters, silence. Something inside her broke. "Why?" she asked the empty air. "I had nothing fancy. I had nothing grand. Villages with red rooftops and fields of golden wheat stretching to the horizon. But I had a home, and now I don't even have that." She waited for someone to answer. No one did. That night, she slept on a bare wire, shivering in the cold. The next morning, she began to fly, not toward something, but away from everything. She flew over hills she had never seen. She passed rivers that glittered like silver thread beneath the sun. She saw, but none of it felt like home. She was exhausted. Her wings ached. Her throat was dry. She landed on a rock beside a dusty road and thought, maybe I should just stop. Maybe I've lost everything, and there's nothing left to find. But then, a sound. A soft, distant humming, like music carried by the breeze. She tilted her head. She listened. The sound was gentle, almost like a lullaby from her childhood. Something inside her stirred. Not hope, not yet, but curiosity. She lifted herself off the rock and followed the sound. She flew over one more hill, and then another. And then she saw it. A garden. Not just any garden. A garden that looked like it had been painted by the sky itself. Rows of sunflowers stretched toward the heavens. Lavender bushes hummed with bees. Cherry blossom trees lined a winding path, their petals drifting like pink snow. A crystal-clear fountain sparkled in the center, and the air smelled of jasmine and warm earth. And the trees? Oh, the trees! Tall, thick, deeply rooted, their branches cradled one another like old friends. Perfect, safe, alive. The sparrow landed on the lowest branch of the tallest tree. She looked around in disbelief. This is more than I ever dreamed of. Slowly, carefully, she began again. She chose her twigs with patience. She wove her nest stronger this time, using thick vines and soft moss. She placed it deep inside the branches, where the wind couldn't reach, where the rain couldn't fall. When it was done, she settled in. The sun warmed her feathers. The fountain sang below her. The lavender breeze wrapped around her like a blanket. And in that stillness, a thought came to her, clear as morning light. If those workers had never come, if my tree had never fallen, I would have stayed in that old hollow forever. I never would have seen the rivers. I never would have flown over those hills. I never would have found this place. She closed her eyes and smiled. They didn't destroy my life. They set it free. Friends, isn't that how life works for us too? We build our little worlds. We wrap ourselves in comfort. We convince ourselves that what we have is all there is. And then, without warning, something shakes the ground beneath us. A job disappears. A relationship ends. A plan falls apart. A dream we held so tightly gets taken from our hands. In that moment, we cry out. We ask, why? What did I do wrong? Why is this happening to me? We sit on the cold wire of grief. We stare at the stumps of what used to be. And we wonder if we'll ever feel safe again. But here's the truth, the same truth the little sparrow learned. The thing that broke your world is not the thing that ends your story. It's the thing that forces you to fly, to move, to search, to discover what was always waiting for you just beyond the hill you were too comfortable to cross. Your loss is not your ending. It's your redirection. The job you lost led you to the career that finally felt like purpose. The relationship that ended led you to the person who truly sees you. The dream that failed led you to a bigger dream you didn't even know you had. The same saw that cut down your tree is the same force that opened the sky above your wings. So, if you're in the middle of loss right now, if your nest has fallen, if your world has shaken, if you're sitting on a cold wire wondering if anything good is left, hear this. Keep flying. Don't stop at the first hill. Don't give up on the second. Don't convince yourself the road is empty when you just haven't reached the garden yet. Your next chapter isn't just a replacement for what you lost. It's an upgrade. It's a revelation. It's the life you were always meant to live, but could never reach as long as you stayed inside the hollow of your comfort zone. The bell rang, the tree fell. The ground shook, but you're still flying. And somewhere ahead, your garden is waiting. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, because every week we bring you stories that remind you, no matter how dark it gets, God always has a better plan. Until next time, keep flying.